The most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. You heard the man. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly. With me, as always, is my co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. You might recognize a new face here on the show, and we are so lucky and happy to have him. Welcome to the show, UFC up-and-comer. If you don't know, you're about to find out. Garrett Armfield, how we doing?
What's up,
Let's go.
Hey,
Doing great, brother.
That was one of the better intros I've ever been a part of. So hell yeah.
Let's go.
My boy's a professional over here. He's got the great voice for it.
Yeah,
Great, brother. How are you, man?
Good, man.
How's everything? How's your week looking?
It's been pretty good. Yeah. Who did the voice on your guys' introduction?
That was actually somebody that did like 20 years of radio work, and I found him online, gave him a script, and yeah, I did all the video work and stuff after that.
Yeah, I saw that was good. Did you use Fiverr?
I did.
Yeah, Fiverr's the where
it's
at.
so
Shout out
good
Fiverr.
for things like that. Shout out Fiverr.
Hell yeah, brother.
So yeah, first things first. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Garrett Armfield. If you have not seen his fights, he is one of the more exciting up-and-comers in the UFC these days. The type of guy, he's a fighter's fighter, right? And in my humble opinion, I feel like you're very welcome. Thank you, man. Like I said before we went live here, you're the one that goes out there day in and day out and leaves it all on the line inside of the octagon. So we appreciate you for what you do, and we're pretty thrilled to have you on the show. So first things first, I think it might, at the risk of being a bit of a generic question, I've got to ask, why mixed martial arts? What got you into this sport?
Pretty straightforward. Direct reason why I started was that my brother was doing kickboxing, and like 10 years old, I was only like 6 or 7, so I'd watch him do it, and my entire family ended up joining. But we did it as like a family thing. Actually, it was like a karate studio, and so actually I grew up doing martial arts and karate from like ages 4 all the way up to 18, and so I just always had martial arts in my life. As for like why I keep doing it, and I'm still honestly kind of trying to discover why. But I found kind of like with the understanding that I have so far, I'm sure it'll change in like 10 years. But the reason I fight right now is like it's like the only job that I can do where I don't have somebody telling me like what to do in a way. You know what I mean? Like I can be myself completely out there, and it's all on me. And I think that's why I fight. And I'm still trying to figure it out, like the spiritual reason why, you know?
Absolutely, man. I think that's a fantastic answer. And that's a very martial artist answer. The fact that you say you're still figuring it out, like you're still learning.
Yeah, it's like, you know, what it's about. Because, like, you know, like priorities change. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's like, because when I first got to the UFC, I was just happy to be. I'm sorry, somebody tried calling me.
No worries.
You're going to put on Do Not Disturb real quick.
You're a popular guy. I'm sure that's going to be happening more and more often. So all is well.
All right. Yeah. So, where are we at? Yeah. So when I first got to the UFC, honestly, I was kind of like happy to be there, and I was kind of like, I hadn't set in yet. Like I like honestly felt like I didn't belong. Like I didn't have the skill set to hang with the top. And then I was out for a year. So then that was like, the more you're inactive, the more you're like, oh, can I still do this? And I uproot and change gyms, and like I'm realizing my full potential and what I can actually do in the sport. And like now I just want to be a champion. Like I just want to be the best. I don't even care about the money. Like I just want to be the freaking best at this because I really think I can. I really believe I can be the best. So
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
I love that.
By the right people.
You got to, man.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the questions Garrett I had for you was like kind of learning a little bit more about your process into choosing a camp. I didn't realize you've already gone through the process of changing camps. Was there anything that stood out to you in terms of maybe the coach or the gym, or was it, ironing, sharpening iron when you go into a class, maybe just have like a feeling? Was there anything that stood out to you with this new coach or anything that you've now, learned at this stage in your career? You've been in the UFC for a couple of years now. Like, talk us through that a little bit, man. That's always interesting for me to hear.
Yeah. So I wanted the personalization, right? I wanted to like get all my coach's attention. Like I want to be selfish with my coach's attention. Like, and ultimately I'm paying him. He's teaching me, right? We both make money. It works out, right? But like whenever I went to I was at a big camp in Killcliff MMA with like Michael Chandler there and all these famous people. And you think you need to be right next to them to be the best in the world. And I kept getting injured and sick, and I was just ready for a change. I needed a reset. Like I said, I hadn't fought in almost a year. So I had also been in Florida for 4 years. So I needed a reset, and my manager recommended Marathon MMA. I was like, sure, it's close to home. I'm from St. Louis, and Marathon's in Kansas City. And so I went there, and like Trey was a very smart guy, and I picked it up right there. And I was like, you know what? It's different. I'll give it a shot, and I'll see. And about 2 or 3 weeks in there, I started like kind of putting some things together. But now looking back, I've been there for 9 months, and it's crazy how much my game's changed. And like, it's awesome. I definitely believe that every fighter needs a coach that cares. And not saying my old coaches didn't care. They did care. Excuse me. It was more so the fact that like, if you have 3 people and one person brings $100,000 a fight and I only bring $1,000 a fight, like it's business and I get it. But so that's why I wanted to go small and get the focus and attention. And Trey's a genius. So it's great.
Let's go.
And he's actually fighting. He's fighting in 3 weeks, March 23rd.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
Yeah.
They say those that can do teach. Well, your boy Trey Ogden, man, he's doing and teaching. He's teaching those guys the lesson in real life. That's awesome.
Yeah. Right. Since we all been there, like Marathon's on a 5-fight win streak. So, like we have Trey's fight was a no contest and Miles was a no contest, but Trey was whooping the guy's ass when the ref stopped it because the guy didn't tap out or show that he was alive. And then Miles, it was like a faulty USADA test. Like he actually wasn't, like he only got like a 2-month suspension.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You see that happen a lot with USADA.
Yeah, right? It's kind of fucking with people's careers, right?
A little bit.
Like
There's just too many
O'Malley.
inconsistencies, right? The Sean O'Malley thing.
You think Sean O'Malley does steroids? No, Sean O'Malley doesn't look like he takes steroids.
No,
You know?
no, he does not. That's the
Yeah.
thing is like there are so many people that have failed drug tests out of the USADA run that just don't fit the bill at all. And it's typically like people that use PEDs, at least in my experience, both watching as a fan and covering the sport, is if you use PEDs, it's not like a once-off. Like, look at your Chael Sonnens of the world. That guy did not do it one time. Like, you typically learn how to do it, and then you do it over and over and over again. And you typically look the part, at least to an extent. Sean O'Malley is not that guy. He's the long guy that you pick on at a bar, not knowing he's going to murder you.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a couple people. Like I know, like Grant Dawson. He was one that faced that as well, and has been in his career. And I know Grant personally, and I know a lot of people that really know him even better. And
No chance.
like that dude, no chance in the world. Like, there's no way. So,
so real quick, I want to go back to you said that Trey's a genius. Obviously, like you're loving, and I definitely think there's something behind. If you have a stable of fighters and one of them is bringing you a handful of money, the other was bringing you a boatload of money, you're probably going to focus on the guy that's bringing you a boatload of money. And it is just business, right? Yeah. And also at the same time, like when you're training at a large gym like Killcliff, people come from around the country to go there. So I can't imagine that it's not a crowded gym. And it goes to any teacher. If you're in a classroom and you have 5 students versus a teacher that's in a classroom with 25 students, 5 students are probably going to get a lot better learning experience, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a world-class teacher or not.
Exactly. Like you're getting the one-on-one time that you need.
Exactly. And that's what I really felt like I was missing. And wow. Yeah, I feel like I looked completely different in the cage in my past 2 fights since I've been there. So
you did. from a fan standpoint, cool. I can agree. Yeah. You definitely did. You looked incredible. I mean, 2 fights ago you looked fantastic. But I think like I'd be doing you a huge disservice if I didn't say that in the last fight you look like a totally different person, man. The way that you put it on Katona was just incredible. It's like before I used to fight off instinct, like whatever they do, I'm gonna react. It was reactionary fighting, and now I've kind of now it's like more of I view it more as a sport now than I ever have, because now there's tactics and moves and all these things. There's different plays that are involved. Like there's different, like we have like a yo-yo. Like I didn't know how a yo-yo was, but now I know what a yo-yo is. Which like I don't know if you guys know, but like it's like a certain footwork pattern. But yeah, so like we incorporate all of those into all of our striking systems. Actually, it gets very like it can get complex, or not complex, but just like a lot of things to remember. But it turns. For me, it turns my job from just fighting into back to what I love, and it being a martial art. I love that. And I mean, it shows that you're learning new kind of tricks and techniques. Like it's easy to just say you're learning new techniques, but you're learning new tricks too. Like the way that you're like your footwork, right? I don't know specifically what the yo-yo technique is, but I'd imagine it's to an extent a footwork move where you're pulling your opponent in and then making them pay, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I learned some similar footwork drills. I don't think we called it the yo-yo whenever I was learning stuff like that, but it's incredible, right? Like you learn something that can feel so small, but then it connects. It's like a connective tissue, and you have this aha moment. And I will say, like I noticed in like 4 fights ago, you were fighting instinctually, like you said. Like you would let other people lead the dance, and even if you'd win the fight, you would kind of take some damage, take a couple lickings before you start moving forward and doing your own damage. In the last 2 fights, though, you were dictating the pace. You were leading the dance, and you were making them fight your fight. It was honestly incredible to see the growth just even between your like 2 fights ago versus your last fight. So I guess my next question is, for that much of a change to actually take place, what do you think is the biggest difference that kind of took place in the gym between you and the coaching staff?
I mean, I didn't like I knew the coaches cared about me at Killcliff, but like I wasn't personally close with them. Like I knew them for 4 years, but like, and part of that's my fault because I used to be way more shy, especially when I had 2 pro fights and like just came to this big gym from small town Missouri, right? So partly that's on my part. Like I didn't make the effort to be closer with them, but like, I don't know. It's hard for me to have like a normal conversation. I don't know. It's like very like an artificial friendship that we had, right? Whereas like Trey, I spend like me and 5 other guys on the team. We all hang out for like 5-6 hours a day. So I really get to know all of them. So the relationship dynamic is huge. I hear my coach's voice better. I trust what he says. I understand what he's saying. And then on the flip side also, the time on the mat that I'm spending, again, I'm on the mat like 5. Like I got there at 8 a.m. and I was there till 11:30 today. And then I'm going to go back from 5:30 till 7:30. And of course, that's not all training, but most of it is. Thank you. Killcliff, it was just like 11 to 12 and then 5 to 6. So, yeah.
I like that.
It sounds like you want to be there more as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do want to. I do.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I was going to say, you mentioned a lot of nice things there that a lot of people can take away. It's about finding a good partnership, about finding a good relationship where there's that back and forth, right? It's not surface level. It doesn't feel artificial. It doesn't feel forced even. I think there's something to that. And some of the best coaches, fighters, coach, athlete, any sport, it's like that translates, is that dynamic, having a good team, having a good head coach at the helm. I think all that factors in. That's awesome, man.
I mean, in other sports, sorry, I'm grabbing the phone charger real quick.
Oh, good. We hear you loud and clear, brother.
Shoot. I'll be good. I got like 10% left.
Okay, cool. No worries, brother. No worries.
I call that team chemistry, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
We call it team chemistry, but like fighting's individual, so we don't think of it like that, but it's there.
Yeah, man.
It's very much a team sport.
I love that. And can you talk a little bit on that in regards to like taking that in the octagon, right? Like a couple of things you just mentioned, which give me some context clues, but you mentioned trust in your coach, maybe one factor. You mentioned being able to hear him a little bit better. What are some other things that help you translate those things you're working on in the mat, or, you know, as you're sparring or working through some of those drills, or even those plays, we can call them, right, for layman's terms? Hey, yo, hey, give me boomerang. Hey, give me these certain kind of call outs. Yeah. Can you shine a little bit of light of like what it's like? I mean, as a fan, you think it's just adrenaline dump. I mean, we've been in maybe a little bit of scuffles ourselves, but it's just like, I can't imagine you hearing your coach one and then thinking, okay, yo, let me like go into this position. So talk us through that process, brother, and how that's been clicking the last two fights for you.
So you can hear in my Singapore fight, because the crowd, that fight, when I fought, there wasn't a lot of people in the crowd yet. So you can hear Trey very distinctly in the fight footage. And if you go back and listen, everything, it's almost like he has like a remote control, and I'm like striking. So he yells 1-4-3, and I hit him with a hard 1-4-3 before I dropped Kasama with the jab. So it's like pretty cool how like for some reason I just hear his voice, and it just like I don't even think about it. I just kind of do. But for some reason, so actually I do a lot of visualization. I really think it's not for some reason. I do know why I feel so comfortable in there. For one, and like how I'm able to hear my coach and control the adrenaline surges is that, for one, is exposure to competition. So I've had a lot of boxing matches since I was a kid. So getting in fights doesn't, I just think of it another day, right? And then I also, on weigh-in day, I always go up to the cage because you can see the weigh-ins are right next to where the cage is at in the back. And I go and I look at all the logos on the cage, and then I'll visualize Friday night, me being there, because your brain doesn't know if a memory is happened or not if you're visualizing it, right? So like I've already been there 1,000 times. So I think that's so when I get in there, it's like it's crazy. I will literally think of the cold metal floor on the bottom of my feet as I'm climbing up the steps. Yeah,
that's so sick. Like every sensory, huh? It's like a spidey sense. You're like so dialed in.
The smell of Vaseline, all that stuff. Yeah,
let's go.
And you're
that's
also
so
like
sweet.
Tricking yourself into like your brain thinking like I've already done this. I've already won this fight. I've already stepped in here. I've already felt the pain that I'm going to feel.
Now your heart rate at the beginning of the fight, instead of being up here, is right here.
Yeah,
and
you're
right
breathing.
Here is when you make the good decisions, right?
Absolutely. It's when you're overreacting and really biting on those feints and things that they're doing, and again, kind of acting like you've never been there before. That's when the octagon jitters really get to you, and you fall prey to the big lights.
Yeah,
but I mean, obviously, you've mastered that aspect.
Yeah, thank you, man. There's been actually a lot of studies done before where it's like they had two sets of weightlifters, and the control group just went out and lifted, but then like the experimented group visualized it for a week before, and their PRs were like 10% higher than the control group. Yeah,
that's a significant number.
It was a significant number. So
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep you all day, but I do want to go over just a couple more things. We can focus on the bright and sunshiny parts of MMA all day, which most people like to. But I did want to kind of talk about the dark side of MMA, the things that maybe a lot of fans that are new to this sport, as far as viewers, don't necessarily know about or get to see. So from the regional scene all the way to the UFC, can you tell me one thing that really surprised you and that possibly still surprises you about regional mixed martial arts? And then one thing that you thought was going to be quite different when you made it to the UFC that maybe isn't so different?
First off, like the hardest thing is being able to balance it, and like, because a lot of guys that are working like 30-40 hours a week and they train, a lot of them aren't giving their all in training, and so they stay stuck at that level of low regional, amateur level, whatnot. For me, I think it really set me apart is that I like became obsessed. Like I didn't have a social life. I didn't go out and party. I didn't go out and drink. I stayed away from relationships for years, and I just trained. So all I did was just like go to work, school, train, just train nonstop twice a day. Didn't matter if it was at the class was at 5 a.m. I was there at 5 a.m. And that's just because I wanted to make this my career. Now, like, if people don't want that, that's fine. But if people are choosing it to be a career, like, and if you, because I still had to work. I was living in South Florida. Like, you still got to work to afford to live down there, right? So, like, I remember Monday morning, my feet would be sore from working all weekend. And so jumping rope was always the hardest thing for me because I was, like, waiting tables 24 hours a week, 12 hours on Saturday and Sunday. And so I think that's what like a lot of people don't realize is that and it takes way longer than you think it's gonna take, unless you're like Bo Nickel, right? But then again, he had that long ass journey of wrestling, and he was just really successful there. But the biggest difference, I think, the biggest surprise actually, was that when I got to the UFC, I realized that they still only pay for one flight and one hotel room, because that's how it is in the regional scenes. So I figured maybe when I got to UFC, it was all going to be covered. No, it's not.
Yeah, you would assume that they would send like at least pay to have your whole team come out, or at least like your top coach, right?
They pay
or a
for
significant other. Like,
so excuse me, they pay 2 people. They pay for you and a coach, but that's it.
But still, like that, it just doesn't seem like enough because, as you said, you're the man in the cage, right? But
yeah,
there's a lot of guys behind the scenes that are helping you get ready to be the guy in the cage, and you're not just going to fly one guy out there. Everybody knows that.
Well, I'm sure like being in college is like different than being in NFL. You know what I mean? Like it should have a little bit of differences, right?
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I would imagine the NFL difference is pretty vast from college ball.
And then I would say probably like, what was your question about the regional scene? Like, what's the biggest surprise or what's the hardest part?
So what was either the hardest part or just kind of the biggest surprise, both when you first started, and maybe if it's something that, hasn't changed even today?
Mine was actually, I had worse nerves and jitters on the regional and local scene than the UFC.
Really?
Yeah,
that's actually very shocking.
Way more, because if I couldn't beat a dude at Shamrock FC in St. Louis, Missouri, that I sold tickets and I'm picked to win, if I can't beat him, then I'm never going to be in the UFC, and all my family's going to fucking watch me lose. And I just put 20 years of my life into this sport. Now I'm in the UFC. Now I just got to go out there and compete. So it's fun. It's fun, right? Cameras, it's cool. It's awesome. I love it. But locally, I struggled a lot with it. A lot of demons I had to battle to be able to go out there and fight.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. And also going back to kind of what you were saying earlier, right? Now you've done it so many times, it feels almost like second nature to you. Like you're just going out for another day at the office nowadays.
Yeah, now it's just easy, But some of my most nerve-wracking fights was fighting on Shamrock. Because even when I went to CFFC, I was like, oh, it's a step up in competition. Like, oh, sweet. Like it's gonna be a hard fight. I know it's gonna be a hard fight, but yeah, man. So
different fight in your backyard, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with all your family there, you're selling tickets, like you said. Like you're telling people, like, "Hey, come watch me fight."
Yeah.
You don't want to end up, come Friday, come Saturday, that turning into, sorry, I got you to pay to come watch me lose.
Watch me get slept by a guy that's a taxi driver.
Yeah,
taxi driver.
Oh gosh.
Not today. Not on our watch.
There's fights hopefully in St. Louis May 11th. Though.
Ooh.
You guys are out of St. Louis, right?
Yeah, we're in California actually.
Oh, I'm
in Arizona currently, but
he's in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sweet.
All good.
I thought you guys were local to St. Louis. Never mind.
No, all
If
good.
you were local, we would definitely be coming to the watch party that you guys are hosting, though.
I know it. I wish I would be there.
Yeah, I definitely wish we could make that. So last question for me. Again, I don't want to take up a ton of your time. And I feel like we've already gone over the allotted amount here. So if you could, or actually two questions. First one, if the Garrett Armfield of today could go back and talk to the Garrett Armfield that was about to walk out for either his first, karate class or his first regional fight, what bit of advice would you tell you from the past?
I would say just keep doing your thing, because like this job's really cool. I get to do it if I want all day.
Let's go. I love that.
It's awesome. I get to just train, and then if I wanna study something throughout the day, I'll study something. If I want to relax, play video games, I might play video games. So it's pretty cool life.
What video games are you playing these days?
The only one I play is Fortnite, because that's what I don't play it a lot.
I love it.
My nephew will play, and then my best friend will play. So we'll hop on and
I literally
got to squat up. Absolutely.
I play games. I typically play Fortnite no build with my gal.
Okay,
so I get it.
We do no build. I'll have to get your game.
I'll have to get your gamer tag later. Maybe we get some games in.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I love that.
I love that advice. My last question, then I'll see if Nano has any questions before we let you go. If you could fight anybody, anywhere, like any stadium in the world, and any name standing across from you, make your call out. Where do you want it, and who do you want it to be?
I would want to fight like Cody Garbrandt, like in Kansas City or St. Louis would be really cool.
Ooh.
Or fire. Brr, brr, brr. No. I would want to fight Garbrandt. There. I mean, like obviously, like I don't know. I would rather fight at home. I feel like nothing's better than fighting at home. Like I eventually want to. My goal of mine's fight at the MSG and the O2 Arena. Those are some big goals of mine. But
hell yeah.
Out in my mind that you will be in both of those arenas, getting a win bonus in the very near future. And as a Cody Garbrandt fan, I love and hate that call out, because that's a scary matchup for Cody Garbrandt. That's a scary matchup.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was thinking,
notice I didn't say that's a scary matchup for you. Like,
yeah, which like it's a tough matchup. Like he's a hell of a fighter, and like he's a former
fighter. But I feel like style wise,
former champ,
you stack up very well against him.
I feel like I would set a lot of traps.
I think you would, based on what you did to Katona. I don't, as a Garbrandt fan, I don't like that.
I see. I'm a big fan of Garbrandt too. I actually messaged him on Snapchat when I was like 17, and I was
Let's go.
"Hey man, I'm such a big fan. Like I want to be where you're at one day." And, like he messaged me back. I don't have the message, but I remember like distinctly he responded back and was like, "Just keep working hard. You do well." So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
Cody, no love, showing a little love there. Yeah. I like that. That's a good respectful call out from a martial arts perspective. I dig it, man. From one martial arts to another, that'd be a good bout. I'd pay to see it. I'd probably fly out there to Arrowhead and I'd go watch it myself.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm a Raider fan. That's a hostile territory for me, but to support our guy here, Garrett, absolutely, man. Anything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, one question. I mean, honestly, I guess kind of a two-parter, but one, kind of keep it a little more light. Notice you're a bartender as well. Do you have a favorite cocktail, maybe that you like to serve or that you like to drink yourself? A go-to cocktail.
Drink wise, if I'm drinking, like, because I don't really drink too much. If I'm not drinking beer, then I'm drinking either like whiskey on the rocks, so like Maker Marks, and then with like a splash of water, and then either that or just like a Red Bull vodka, because like, I like all the caffeine.
Efficient, yeah. I need a little pick me up.
Yeah.
It's clean, not a lot of calories. I like it.
Favorite one to make. I can make a good lemon drop martini, because that's my girlfriend's favorite. So I practice doing that.
Say less. Lemon drop. If you're in the area, y'all, if you're listening, you see Garrett behind the bar, get that lemon drop going.
Lemon drop, that's what's up. Yeah.
I like it, brother. I like it. Hell yeah. And then my last one is just kind of for you, brother. Anything you want to plug, anything that's next for you. I know you're having the viewer party here at your local watering hole there in your town, but yeah, man, what's next for Garrett Armfield, brother? Anything you want to promote?
Not much, man. Just keep tuned to all my social medias. I got a lot of interviews I got lined up, so thank you guys for being part of that.
Thank you.
Two, I have me and Miles Johns, bantamweight in UFC. Very good. We're going to be hosting a watch party at Chicken and Pickle on Saturday. So we're going to be doing live commentary for the fights, and I'll be bartending it at the same time. So
stop by, get some drinks, get some lemon drops, and support.
Yeah, you guys make sure that you follow him on all his socials as well. The Twitter is at Armfield135. The 135 is obviously there because he's someday going to be the 135-pound champion in the UFC, folks. And if you are in the area, make sure that you drop into that watch party. It sounds like it's going to be a hell of a time. And it sounds like this guy's a hell of a bartender, too.
Yeah, I'm all right. I could be better.
Even
you're
better
on the
fight.
journey. We're on the journey. That's it, huh? Just like a martial artist, we're on the journey, baby. It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you being
Thank you
here.
for your time.
Guys, make sure you pay attention to this guy's next fight. And if you haven't seen his previous ones, jump on UFC Fight Pass, jump on ESPN Plus. Make sure you watch those, and make sure you tune into all this guy's other interviews he's got coming up this week. If you're new here, if you're returning, either way, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And as we like to say here on the show, keep on going, keep on growing. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.